Hey guys, Blaze here. I hope you're doing well today. I want to say something here about the situation with Daystar and Joni Lamb, Jonathan and Susie Lamb. I want to encourage all of us to think about a few things that as we're watching all of this unfold. Okay, there is a child that has opened their mouth and told their mother that she was abused. Okay, I hope you guys remember that this all is surrounding that topic right there. There's a child that has opened their mouth bravely and told her mother that she was abused when she was 5 years old. And graphically, she told her mother that she was abused. That is the core issue over this entire thing. We all saw Marcus Rogers sit down with Joni Lamb today, or this past week, and we saw it on YouTube today. We saw Marcus Rogers sit down with Susie and Jonathan Lamb. Here's what when I'm looking at this interview with Joni Lamb, and when I'm looking at Joni Lamb's prior statement that she made, which, by the way, the majority of what was said in this Marcus Rogers interview has already been said multiple times over. So I don't understand the need to platform this woman on his channel, but apparently he got advice from pastors saying that that's the fair way to do it. That's the biblical way. I think biblical, yes, there are some really good Bible verses that you could interpret to say that means you need to platform this woman, and that's fair. I think that the application of biblical is up to interpretation, but we'll leave that for another conversation. Here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing, all right? So Proverbs chapter 31. This is the verse I want to read to you guys. Proverbs chapter 31. He says in Proverbs 31, "Open your mouth for those who cannot speak for themselves. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute." For the rights of all who are destitute. And it actually says here in the footnote, "Our sons of passing away." Our sons of passing away, for the word destitute. And then he says, "Open your mouth and judge righteously. Defend the rights of the poor and needy." In this situation, guys, there is a child who was 5 years old that opened her mouth about this abuse, went to her mother about this abuse. And here we are years later, okay, there's been a long timeline in between where certain things were said about it, about the height of the person that did it, etc. Initially, Susie went to her confidant, her mother-in-law, who she trusted, and they went to the school together to investigate and found that there was no man that worked at that school. That was not what had been done. It hadn't happened at the school. But there was another individual that once admitted that the girl walked in on him completely naked in the shower at one point. And then another time, he walked in on her with no clothes on. How on earth are you going to have... How does it make any sense that a grown man who is somehow in relation to this, allegedly in relation to this little girl, has been seen unclothed by her, admittedly, and has also admittedly been around when she was unclothed as well, admittedly, allegedly? How does that make any sense? And furthermore, Susie testifies that when she brought her daughter to Daystar and that man was in the room, that her daughter's body went limp and she fell down beside the table and she had to take her out of there. Guys, this is all I'm going to say, is that you could take a lie detector test. Lie detector tests can work really well. They also can have false positives and false negatives, okay? The forensic investigator that this man was supposed to meet with, he would not meet with her again to get clearance. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't meet with her alone without his wife, who continued to answer the questions for him the first time. The investigator said she wanted him to meet with her alone in order to give him clearance to say that he was innocent, and he would not go and do it. Why? But he continued to beg a family friend, Denise Boggs, who is a family friend counselor, for clearance from the abuse to say that he was innocent. And Denise said, I can't do that. You need to go back to this original forensic investigator. And he would not do it. Why? There's too many factors that point to a problem. I understand, guys, I understand it's not guilty until proven innocent. I understand that, okay? We're not saying that. But the fact that they shut this initial investigation down, that he would not go back to them, and that Marcus Lamb allegedly, and Joni in agreement, it seems so, allegedly, told Susie and Jonathan that Pete had been cleared by this forensic investigator years ago, only to find out after Marcus's death that that was not true. Of course, they're going to raise heck when they find out that that's not true, that their daughter was abused by somebody. They know it. And the guy that they thought was cleared by the forensic investigator, because their parents, who are spiritually their leaders and financially their leaders because they're their bosses, told them this. To find out that that was a lie would be devastating. And yes, at that point, who do you trust? People say, how dare Jonathan go to the media and treat his mother this way? Guys, who do you trust when you've been lied to about the forensic investigation regarding the abuse of your daughter? This is where, and I'm going to say this to the whole YouTube community, and on this private channel, I don't have hardly any subscribers, so whoever sees it, whatever. You can go to our bigger channel, Wake Up and Win podcast, where we cover all this stuff. But privately, I'll say to the YouTube community, and to the X community, and to the people that follow myself, and the people that follow my wife and I, and the people that follow Susie and Jonathan, the people that follow Daystar, if you're going to speak up about this, make sure that the point of speaking up is about this child. Because when I watched that interview between Marcus Rogers and Joni Lamb, as she began to talk about the alleged perpetrator, Pete, there was a strange, almost, and you can never, guys, you can never judge somebody's heart by the look on their face. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that I did not see the intensity that I would hope a grandmother would have regarding the abuse that did happen. I'm not saying that Pete did it for sure, but here's my point. She was all about clearing Pete. Yes, there's no evidence. They have no evidence. They brought this up to try to get as their last ditch effort to try to gain control over Daystar again, to get the presidency. Those are the assumptions that she seems to be pointing to in this interview. And instead of saying, yes, Pete was cleared. Yes, Pete was cleared. Yes, we know that there's no evidence. Pete didn't do it. Pete didn't do it. Instead of just saying that, you've got to put an exclamation point on it as a grandmother, as a family member of this daughter, and say, but we want to know who did it. And we'll do everything and bend over backwards to find out who, because apparently it's still not been found out. And I question deeply if Joni even believes her granddaughter. And this is why I think it comes down to the mother and the father, because nobody cares about their kid like the mom and the dad. You bring that allegation, my daughter brings an allegation like that to me about something that's been done to her, a report of that. I'll tell you, I will stick with it until I find out who. And if I find out that my parents lied to me in that situation, I would be confused as all get out. If they lied to me about the clearing of somebody that was close to the family, but that didn't truly happen, guys, you got to understand. I realize that you say, well, Jonathan and Susie are fine. They've had these cush jobs for years on TV, da-da-da. Guys, they have lost their jobs. Their mother pushed them out because they didn't agree with a remarriage to a man that just got divorced 3 months after Joni's husband died. But that is not the main issue of this conversation. However, it matters because in the midst of the confusion about trying to figure out what happened to their daughter, and that their parents are saying that Pete is cleared, they're also dealing with the death of the father and the remarriage to a man, and this whole scenario that seems unbiblical to them, that they're being forced to say things on TV, and if they don't, then they are brought into meetings and lose their jobs, and people are accusing them. How could you trust Jonathan? Look at him coming in with with his recording to record. How could you not go into these meetings with the recording when you've seen people put bugs on your car And then those people that you confronted about putting the tracker on your car lied about it to your face. I get that everybody's saying, oh, there's trackers on every car at Daystar, every car. Guys, listen to the details. November 7th, the tracker was put on Jonathan's car. He saw it happen, confronted the man that was doing it, and the man said, no, I was just checking your car for this, that, or the other. He said, well, there was a thing on the back of my window. You couldn't be checking for whatever you saw. And the guy lied, saying he was not putting the tracker in. So what level of trust do you have when you don't feel the same intensity about your daughter from the grandmother in protecting the daughter that you feel? Well, of course she's not going to have that same intensity. She's the grandmother. And she's not going to fully discern the situation like a mother's discernment would be. So I want to say this, guys. The voice for the voiceless, the YouTube channels, all this, yes, we got to dig through some of these details. We got to dig through, the details of the recordings and all these, but it all is pointing back to one thing, and that's that there's still a little girl right now that has been abused, and there's still a man on the loose. There's someone that has done this to her, and it was very detailed and graphic, and a 5-year-old doesn't make this kind of stuff up, guys. They don't make it up. There's a man that's done this. He's out there. And apparently, there's a man that's close to their family that's seen this girl unclothed, allegedly, and has also admittedly been seen by her unclothed. We say, well, she walked in on the bathroom situation. Does the man not know how to lock the door? I've been on many family vacations. You don't take a shower with children around without locking the door. This is absolutely absurd to me. Are you hearing yourself, people? Are you hearing yourself? Well, it was an accident. I don't know if it was or wasn't, but I'm saying this is too strange. Now, why doesn't he go back to the forensic investigator to get cleared? Why doesn't he need to go back to the one that originally was doing? Why not? I don't know. But I do know that I'm not seeing any level of intensity, publicly at least from Joni Lamb, about the daughter who was abused. I don't see it. Maybe I'm missing it. You guys show me where that deep concern is. It seems more an image control and correcting the record and protecting Pete and protecting her marriage with Doug and pointing the finger at Jonathan and Susie and making them out to seem crazy. That's what people do, you know. Whenever you bring allegations and you're trying to be a whistleblower, you will be perceived as crazy, as you'll be painted in a light that is jealous, immature. You know, he wasn't ready to take on Daystar. We don't care if he was ready to take on Daystar. That's not the point of this whole conversation. There's so many different nuances in all of that conversation, but at the end of the day, where is the zeal for justice for the child? Where's the zeal for justice for the child? Why is Joni Lamb not saying, now she might be behind the scenes going, well, we're looking for this, we're working on this, we're fighting for this. I don't get that impression. Maybe she is. I would hope so. But publicly, her words and her facial expressions and her actual testimony has very little to do with the child and everything to do with protecting Pete, protecting Daystar, protecting herself, and pointing the finger at Susie as the controlling Jezebel, apparently is what it was in those recordings, and then Jonathan as basically a betrayer. Judge for yourself. Proverbs 31. Speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. Oh, Daystar needs a platform on Marcus Rogers' podcast. It's the fair and biblical thing to do. Daystar needs a platform? Give me a break. Oh, they're voiceless. They can't get their story out. Give me a break. It's fine. You can do what you want. But give me a break, folks. You know who's the voiceless? Yeah, Jonathan and Susie, they're not voiceless right now, thankfully, because many have taken up their cause. But that child needs a voice in this. That child needs a voice in this. All right, friends, let me know your thoughts below. Share this if it's helpful, and subscribe for more of this type of content. Take care. Peace out.